Taking my time to perfect the beat, and I still got love for the streets. I'm representing for the gangsters all across the world. Hitting the corners in the low, girl. Taking my time to perfect the beat, and I still got love for the streets. I'm representing for the gangsters all across the world. Hitting the corners in the low, girl. Taking my time to perfect the beat, and I still got love for the streets. I'm representing for the gangsters all across the world. Hitting the corners in the low, girl. Taking my time to perfect the beat, and I still got love for the streets. And I still got love for the streets.
Welcome to the nightly recap brought to you by Hoppy. Let's go. Shout out to Hoppy for sponsoring the show on GNN. My name is David Gokhshtein, and that is
Leslie Mota.
my mic isn't cutting in and out. That's your goddamn phone, okay? Why don't you get a new mobile connection? Anyway.
I'm not cutting in and out, David. It's you.
No, some guy said we're cutting in and out. I was
Oh,
saying like he needs a new phone. He needs some milk.
oh. I thought you were talking about me. I was going to be like, what the F, yo? What? I haven't even talked to you all day, and this is how you're going to react or respond today?
Yeah, that's right. I don't know why ICE held you up again, man. That's some messed up shit. Honestly, I don't appreciate them
David,
doing that.
since you didn't watch our show on Friday, I want to tell you a joke before we get started.
Go ahead, tell me a joke.
Are you sure you're ready for the joke?
Yes.
Why don't Mexicans drink room temperature? Or why do Mexicans like room temperature drinks?
Why?
Because they don't fuck with ice. Do I want to tell you another one?
No.
David, if Pete Diddy was to fight with illegal immigrants, would it be Alien versus Predator?
Oh my god. Well, good evening, everybody. I'm David Gokhshtein. Welcome to the Nightly Recap, powered by the Gokhshtein News Network, your trusted source for politics, crypto, and everything in between that makes you question reality. Tonight, I'll kick it off with a few motivational quotes. Number one, when you own your wants with boldness, every movement becomes electric.
What?
Number two, I don't. Master the position that fuels your hunger, where control and desire collide in a fierce, unforgettable dance.
Have you mastered any positions?
I was about to say something stupid, but I held back. Be like a banana, soft and sweet on the inside, but always ready to be peeled and enjoy to the last bite. Okay. What the fuck? Are they drunk?
Yeah.
Trim the excess. Only the smooth confidence starts with the little details you don't see, but everyone feels. What is this shit? What is this shit? What am I fucking reading?
It's because you don't know how to read it. You read it and it sounds like, what the F are you reading? Like, David, you have to read it like poetry. You have to read it in a way where people relate. You are so freaking dry. You have no feelings.
I didn't.
You're so
By the way, I
cold.
didn't write this
You
shit.
read
I
like
didn't write
very
this shit.
monotone. It's just like, ugh. Oh my God. Like, read it with passion, with passion. Like, you lack it inside right now.
Anyway, fuck this shit. Let's go right to the first story.
Oh, and
By the way-
everybody, yes, welcome to the nightly recap. I'm Leslie Mota. Thank you, David, for only saying David Gokhshtein, mother effer. I heard, David, I called you 5 times today. You did not pick up. And then you were like, oh, I'm on a call, and I'm on a call with the landscaper. My question to you, what kind of trim did you get, David?
So I went with Brazilian wax. So I waxed my
see.
balls.
So the
And then
landscaper was able to get
instead
into
of shaving my ass, I went ahead and waxed my ass. So for those who are interested in what kind of landscaping I was doing, that's exactly what I was doing. Is that what you were looking? Are those those answers satisfy you, Leslie?
Landy, that is correct. I don't give a shit about your Brazilian waxed ass and balls. Maybe that's why you're not reading with passion because it took
Landy
more than an
asked me,
hour.
how was it and who I should recommend to him to have his balls waxed. So I don't
Hi,
know what he's
Joey.
talking about.
Yeah, I spoke a lot of Spanish on Friday, had the guys going crazy.
All right, Benaki, listen, Vietnam legalizes crypto. Vietnam passes landmark law recognizing crypto as a legal asset, becoming the first country with a dedicated digital asset framework. So shout out to Vietnam. They're stepping up. Okay. They're stepping up to the plate, legalizing digital assets. I love seeing that.
Good
I
for
know you
them.
love
Good
seeing
for
that.
them.
Back to you, Leslie.
CoinShares files Solana ETF. CoinShares files S1 with the SEC for a spot Solana ETF.
There you go, Solana fans. Wave your hands like you just don't care. Okay, there you go. Tron goes public with via merger, which this I found fascinating today. Tron is set to go public in the US via a reverse merger with NASDAQ listed SRM Entertainment, which apparently, even though Eric Trump, he came out today stating like it's not true.
Rose eyes.
Why don't you just roll your eyes? You can roll your eyes back to Mexico. You heard? Okay?
I mean, you
You do
keep
not
saying that
dare
I have to. You know
disrespect
what? I am sick and tired of
King
your
Trump
shit.
and the
I am
princes.
sick
You
and
don't
tired of your
disrespect,
shit that you're
okay?
always saying, "Oh, go back to Mexico, go back to Mexico." Motherfucker, if you're going to talk about immigrants and etc., guess what? We're all fucking immigrants here at this point because
I
this
was born
land
here.
was stolen.
I
This
was
land
born
was
here.
stolen. This land was
This
stolen.
land is my land. This land is not
That is some
your
bullshit
land.
ass
Your
song.
ass
Yeah,
can
it was
go
stolen from the
back
Native
to
Americans, weren't it? So I
Mexico.
guess at this point we're all fucking colonizers. So we all need to get deported back to our freaking homeland, wherever our grandparents, etc., are from, or our parents. So anything
Well,
else?
I'm just saying,
I'm just
you
saying nothing.
please.
You're just saying a freaking bullshit ass. You know what?
This
Continue.
land
What's
is
next?
my land. This land ain't your land. You can go right back to Mexico. Cause
We
I
really know
will
that this is not your
call
land either,
ICE
David.
and let them know where you are, and they'll drag you right out your house.
I know your
Now,
address and I
may
know
I
where you
finish?
live. I'll have them drag you. You're the one that started this bullshit.
Bro, what is wrong with you?
Nothing.
Direct your fury at Mar, man. He's the one who took you out. I mean, you might be pissed off that you had to pay the bill, but that ain't me. That ain't my problem.
I never went out with Mar.
Yes, you did. He came up on today's radio show and he was very furious.
He said I backstab him for no reason. I don't know what the
Did you
hell
really
happened.
backstab him?
I didn't. I don't know what he's
Apparently, he
talking
said
about.
that you promised him that you would have babies with him. So I don't know what the fuck's the deal there,
I am
bro.
having babies with nobody. I already have my babies. I'm done having babies.
Well, anyway, guys, I know you cared about Tron, and I was rudely interrupted by Leslie Mota, obviously. She rolled her eyes at me mentioning Eric Trump, which is wild, okay? King Trump and his sons love to see what, and by the way, I love to, and we'll talk about that. I love that the fact that they went and finally there is a king that
Hi,
acknowledges the
Jules.
troops. Okay, acknowledges the troops is a fantastic thing. Anyway, Tron is always able, Justin's son is always able to wiggle his way out of all these little situations and get big people, big time people a part of Tron. Back to you, Leslie.
So is it real or not real? So you're
We
saying
don't
that.
know. It's unconfirmed.
So then why is it news if it's unconfirmed? Like it's
Well,
a fact.
well, I stated it's unconfirmed. I don't know what about the word unconfirmed you don't understand.
So they put that out on the news, like making it seem like, oh my God, everybody bullish on this. And then possibility that it's not because Eric Trump said it's not confirmed. So, and this is what I keep saying, but we keep believing politicians, right?
No, you know
And
what it
then
is?
they're
I
gonna
think
come
the
back and be
interns.
like, "Oh yeah, eh."
No, I think the
Okay, what's up
interns are
next for the
drunk.
news?
I think the
Mhm.
interns are drunk and they're trying to pump their bags. That's the conclusion I'm coming to.
Okay. Well, anywho, let me say hi to some of the crowd. Thank you guys for being here and listening to David and I. Hi, Tammy, my beautiful Julie. Jules, ¿cómo estás? Espero que estés bien, que tengas buenas noches. Hi, Landy, and everybody else in the chat. What is up next for the news, David? Or am I next, David? Are you
You
next,
are next,
David?
but I have no
David.
problem
Okay,
taking this
David.
on.
Truth Social plans crypto ETF. President Trump's Truth Social files to launch a Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF. Because why wouldn't they, right, David?
I am very happy. Love to see, love to see King Trump. Okay, King Trump doing king things. You know what I'm saying? The king doing king things. The Trump organization thinking outside the box, participating within the ecosystem, getting that Bitcoin, getting that Ethereum. Let's fucking go. That's what we love seeing. King
I'm
Trump.
happy that you're happy.
China, Russia, Turkey urge peace. China, Russia, Turkey are calling for an immediate end to Israel's war with Iran, urging a resolution through dialogue and negotiation as Iran signals its desire to de escalate tensions.
Really, do they have a desire?
Um, I'm not really big on anybody having nuclear warheads. I don't think anybody should. I think there's no positive end game to essentially having nukes as a country. There's no end game. You know, Iran, and this is, I know people will be like, he's Jewish and that's why he's saying it. That's not why I'm saying it. Just to let you know, this is the words that I'm going to speak right now have nothing to do with me being Jewish. Iran used to be a beautiful country where people walked the streets, fashion was a thing, men, women, they had rights. They went about life like we go about life in America. Like, look back into the 60s and 70s. That's all you have to do is look back into the 60s and 70s. Then this fucking dictatorship took over and they have been destroying their own citizens. They chant death to America. Forget about Israel. Let's put Israel to the side. Forget about it. You either like Israel or you don't. There's no middle ground, okay? I've seen it on here already. There's no middle ground. So forget about Israel. Let's put Israel to the side. They chant death to America on a daily basis. Could you imagine? Could you just imagine Iran with a fucking nuclear warhead?
But are they chanting death to America because we're getting ourselves involved with other countries and the shit that they have going on in this war?
It's more than that. It's honestly it's cultural, right? They hate our culture. Now, I don't agree with everything in our culture, but they hate the fact that we have the culture that we have, and they hate that it sometimes, not even sometimes, but you know how our culture tends to push on others. They hate a lot, sanctions, all this shit. They hate America. Despite they also despise us even more because obviously we support Israel, right? So that's, you're going to the next level with that. Iran has supported every fucking terrorist organization known to fucking man. Could you imagine if they had a goddamn nuclear weapon? It'd be over for the world. Forget about Israel and your hatred for Israel. Forget about the United States of America. I'm talking about the world. The world. Not just Israel, not just the United States of America, the world. Okay? Would end because these people have absolutely, they don't give a fuck. Dictatorship there does not give a shit about life. I'm not talking about the people of Iran. I'm talking about the dictatorship there. They don't care for life, and they are willing to take it and their own. So this is a country that I do not want to see have a nuclear warhead. Iraq, because people will point to Iraq right away. I didn't want a war with Iraq. I was against the war with Iraq, and Bush was the president. I was against that. I'm anti-war. And I don't want the United States of America putting our troops into this shit. I don't. But every country besides the United States of America has said, almost every country has said, bottom line, Iran with a nuclear weapon is very fucking dangerous. That's it. I really, obviously, of course, don't want to see our troops get pulled into another 10-year war. Don't want to see it. I
I
don't want to be
mean, but
liberated.
what's to say that we are not being pulled into that already? I mean, we have troops over
We
there.
are.
We're launching
We are.
everything. What's up next on the news? The USS Nimitz was deployed today. United States deployed the USS Nimitz aircraft carrier strike group to the Middle East. So, I mean, this is why I made a post today about, actions speak louder than words, because here is the US government saying, like, we're not going to get in the middle of it. We're not going to get involved, but yet the actions show otherwise.
Again, I don't want our military to get involved.
I
No,
mean,
I
but we're
don't.
already involved. Like, if we were not getting involved, why are we deploying all of aircraft, military people over there? Why
I
did
think
we
I
remove
think
some
to be honest, I think Trump's bluffing. I think Trump's bluffing.
bullshit?
But
Like, okay,
no, 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 no.
he's not. What do you mean he's
Hold
bluffing?
on.
Come on, be
Hear
realistic
me
at
out.
this
Hear
point,
me out. No, no.
David.
Hear me out. Hear me out. Him sending all this stuff over there, I think he's bluffing to. No, no. Hold on. Understand where I'm coming from. I really do think he's bluffing to where he wants to use and assert power here to say, like, look, we got this shit ready to send it up your asses. Okay. But I don't want to do this kind of approach. But if you make me do this, I will do this. But I don't think he wants to do this because, Leslie, I go back to this. He doesn't want to be known as the president of
Landy
war.
bingo. Look,
What?
so 2.5, 3 weeks ago, troops were deployed to the Middle East. within 24 hours of Israel striking Iran, US people from US embassies were evacuated, etc. This weekend, what was confirmed? Over 25 bomber aircraft went over, and then this weekend too, what was it? What did I tell you earlier? The US Air Force transmits 2 mysterious encrypted nuclear emergency codes over the weekend, which they hadn't done in a while apparently, and the codes were typically longer than they usually are. Now this morning, the US Nimitz is deployed, and then more from the US embassy evacuated. I mean, come on. The writing's on the wall. Didn't we just report right now, too, that a nuclear detection aircraft has launched from STRATCON, flying unusual patterns over the northern U.S., a highly uncommon move that typically signals serious concerns? Didn't Landy also give us a little bit information earlier in regards to, oh, was I supposed to say names? Well, anywho, but sorry, my bad. In regards to a sniffer being up there, a transponder over Iran. So, I mean, don't be so gullible.
I'm not gullible. I just
Well, you
explained what I
sound
thought.
gullible.
I'm not gullible. I see the world as everybody else sees it. Okay.
And I'm not
The
trying to
United States of
fearmonger,
America is
but
the only country nobody can fuck with the United States of
oh
America.
my God, the
Bottom
United
line.
States of America is probably starting a lot of this bullshit.
Oh my God.
Do you want to continue the news and we can come back? I
You
mean,
know,
what did it say?
when
Oh
you
my god, I count with her. I mean, if you guys are naive to think that the
let me
freaking
ask you a
United States of
question.
America
Let me ask you a
hasn't
question.
funded or giving
Leslie,
millions to
Leslie,
some of these countries, you guys are naive.
Leslie, where do you want to live?
I live in the United States of America, but I
No, no,
am
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. I'm
realistic.
asking you a question. No, 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 no. Don't go on a rant and don't give me a novel. Are you like you live in the United States of America, correct?
Right.
Who's our home team?
What do you mean who's our home team?
Who should we be rallying around? Like if we
The
live in the
United
United
States of
States of
America,
America,
of course.
okay, okay, hold up, hold up, okay, hold on. Anything that the United States of America does benefits us, yes or no? I'm just asking.
Depending on what? Does it really though?
Who has the greatest military power in the world?
Right now, possibly the United States of America.
It's no possibilities, okay? It is the United States of America, okay? All right? It is. There's no conspiracy around that. The United States of
There
America,
is conspiracy about somebody else building equipment and shit faster than we are. There is.
China, it will take them, and at this point, they'll never catch up because of the tariffs. But China was probably the closest to get close to us, but they were only spending 2 to 300 million, $1 billion on their military. The United States spends almost $8 trillion. Okay, that's why our money's worth something. I'm just saying. So we here in the United States of America, the greatest country in the world, the greatest empire in the world, okay? We are blessed to have the greatest military in the world, the greatest economy in the world, okay? I'm rooting for the home team. I'm rooting for the goddamn home team. When push comes to shove, I'm rooting for the USA, not for the USSR, not for China, not for Jinping Peng, not for North Korea, not for Vietnam. I'm voting and I'm rooting for the United States of America.
Tammy,
God bless
exactly,
America,
exactly. You know what? That is the problem,
land
Tammy,
that I
is that we
love.
as civilians think that we know based on the news and based on information that is out there. We really don't know what the hell is happening with China out there, what they have, their infrastructure, etc., and things like that. Now,
If you
people
think that
that
the
work
United States of
intel.
America's intelligence does not know what Russia and the
No,
Chinese,
I'm
the
sure
people
that
of
I'm not saying that they don't know. I'm saying commoners like you and I. I think China and Russia are and Iran are the biggest threats to the United States of America, and to think that they're not would be naive.
guys in the chat, give me a USA, 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 USA.
I
Come on, let's
mean,
go.
we say
Let's
that
go.
we
Let's
don't
go.
want war with
Let's go.
USA and we have the best
USA,
military, but why are other
USA.
countries picking fights with
Listen,
USA then?
here's the only thing. They pick fights with
What's
us
the
because
only
they're like,
thing?
listen, they're jealous. That's why they pick
Of
fights with us,
what?
okay?
Your hair?
Absolute 100%. And my eyes, and my lips, okay? And my
Your lips?
eyebrows,
Oh boy, please. Come on.
and my lips, okay?
David,
Listen to me. Listen to
put
me.
some lip gloss on the lips.
We want to make sure we live in the greatest fucking country in the world. We live in the United States of
The
America.
greatest country in the world that keeps their people oppressed in debt and stuff, so the
Oppressed.
commoners can't really
Oppressed? What? Where are you oppressed? You got a goddamn microphone and you're talking shit. Are you talking about oppression? Are you talking about your time in Mexico? Because it's definitely not in the United States of America. What?
come
Cat
at me.
coach?
I love how David gets so fired up and then he turns different colors. 3D NYC, I love to ruffle David's feathers. I am the one that comes on this channel to be a little bit controversial, ask questions that nobody is going to ask, and just drive a discussion for to make David and people feel passionate and really
Can I
express
speak to this
right or
chat right now?
wrong.
Because
But
capitalist is out here talking about Gaza. Let me tell you something about Gaza, okay? Let me say this. I don't know how many times I have to say this. As somebody who's unbiased, because nobody's in this goddamn space is unbiased at all, man. Either you want to kill
thank
Jews
you,
or you
Mar.
don't. It's just horrific. Okay, so let me go ahead. By the way, I'm Jewish. So that comment, what I meant by that is like all you hear is kill a Jew. That's all I see on this goddamn platform. All right, which is horrific. So let me go ahead and say this. All
Kill
right,
a Jew, deport the
nobody,
Mexicans.
nobody wants nobody with a soul wants to see what's happening in Gaza. Okay, nobody, not a single person. And I'll speak for myself. I don't like it. Okay, I don't want to see innocent people go ahead and get massacred. Okay, no, nobody's sitting here. Nobody's sitting here and fucking. I'm not sitting here and like, oh yeah, this is great. It's not what we're doing out here. Normally, human beings aren't clapping about this. You think this is? I watch CNN or Fox or all this shit. You run through the channels. You think we think, oh, this is great. No, nobody thinks that. Nobody thinks that. Okay? I'd love to see a new regime on both sides come into place and there'll be fucking peace in that fucking region that hasn't had peace for fucking centuries. Bottom line. Okay? Two
David,
wrongs
let's
don't make
just
a right. Okay? You know, people say, well, you know what, the whole no electricity. Well, you know what? Ask Hamas, who got billions of dollars to go ahead and provide electricity. Okay? Let's keep it 100 because everybody likes to go ahead and misconstrue information. Okay? Israel doesn't owe anybody electricity. They do it because they do it. Hamas had billions of dollars given to it. They could have built the infrastructure. They didn't. Okay? Again, two wrongs don't make a right. The bombings that are going out there don't make a right, but they're going after Hamas. Does it make a right? No. That innocent people are dying? No. It doesn't make, none of this shit is right. None of this shit is right. None of it. War isn't fucking right. War isn't right. Okay? But like hating one another isn't going to solve any issue. Bottom line. One's blaming this one, one's blaming that one. That ain't gonna solve shit. You're gonna have the same fucking chaos continue to fucking happen for decades upon decades, even after we're gone. So what? You can keep on arguing your fucking points. I'll hit you back with points. You'll hit me back with points. We're not gonna get anywhere. So at the end of the day, this is what I'll say about the Gaza, the Palestinian, the Israeli conflict. Number one, you can't kick out people that live in Israel because these people were born in Israel, okay? Same way that people were born in Palestine. One day, hopefully, we'll get real leadership in there that can actually come to the table and make an agreement and live, just be able to live in that region. That's it. Bottom line, okay? But when you have nations like fucking Iran that are supporting terroristic activities and that want to go ahead and shake up the world, it's very difficult, okay? There are times where peace was close in that region, and unfortunately, people got poisoned and assassinated, okay? Yasser Arafat pretty much got fucking poisoned, okay? And he somewhat wanted peace, okay? The fucking prime minister of Israel that was about to go ahead and lay down peace in that region got assassinated. Again, every time there's a deal that comes to the table, somebody's getting assassinated, okay? Because people do not want to see peace in that region. Hopefully, the younger generation will bring that. But Iran, that's the axis of evil. Out of all of them, like I didn't even have beef with Iraq. I'm gonna tell you right now, I didn't even have beef with Iraq. I thought it was the wrong thing to do for the United States of America to shock and awe, go there, because Bush was fighting Daddy's war. That was, I think any logical person understood that. I'm a Republican and I'm telling you this, man. Every logical person saw that war. Like we went there. There was no evidence of weapons of mass destruction. And there we are. We're there and we find jack shit. Okay? But Iran, North Korea, these are the axes of fucking evils. Like, these people are fucking evil. They will take down, they will go down with the ship. They will let the burn with them. They don't care about life. This will go round and round and round and round, and I'm telling you, nobody's ever going to win that Middle East shit. That shit'll never. One side will say, "Google this," like capitalists is doing right now, and then you have Israelis that'll say, "Google that," and it'll just go back and forth. Nobody wins. Not a single person wins. Leslie, you said something very smart when we started this program. During the time we were talking about the United States, every piece of land on this planet has been taken from somebody. If you look throughout history, it has been taken by somebody through war, aggression, whatever you want to fucking call it. That's what's happened this during our entire time as human beings on this goddamn fucking planet. And that's why aliens will not ever abduct us, because they don't want that shit on their planet. So I'm just keeping it 100. Go look at your fucking history books. Go look at what Alexander the Great did. Go look at all the fucking empires, and go look at Rome. Go look at everybody. Okay? The history books are there. If you guys went to school, you'd understand this. Go look at it. Go look at it. Nobody owns anything. Bottom line. If you really want to get technical with it, nobody owns shit. Because we can date it all back. We can go way back and date it to who really owned whose land and what. Stop this. The nonsense that I hear constantly is crazy. Anyway, I'm done with my rant.
Thank you for your rant, David. Let's go ahead and continue the news so we can touch a little bit more on what the hell is happening.
I got a
with this
toothbrush
war.
and
Oh my
toothpaste today from my dentist. I'm just letting everybody know today.
And then we can
Go
chat
ahead.
with Landy a little bit about, the knowledge and information that he has, because I want to pick his brain. But up next, Iran readies major strike. Iran is preparing for the largest and most intense missile assault ever launched on Israeli soil. Up next, David.
For me personally, when you listen to that, Israel is the size of, if even it is the size of New Jersey,
It's
might be
tiny.
smaller, and you have all these countries that surround it that hate it. What the fuck do you want it to do? Like, what I would love is DM me your thoughts on where do you want to get rid of Jewish people, you want to get rid of Israelis, where are you sending them? Where you want to kick people out that were born on that land? Where are you sending the 77% of those people that were born on that land? Where are you sending them? Where are you sending them? Your problem is with Bibi. Your problem's not with Israelis. And if you want me to show concern, which I do, I show concern about the Palestinians and what's happening in Gaza. Show the same concern about October 7th and don't just push it to the side. That's it. And then we can have some dialogue. I'm just saying. Go ahead, Leslie.
Up next, more missiles launches. Iran has launched a new wave of ballistic missiles towards Haifa, Israel, while Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu declares he has no interest in peace talks with Tehran. Tehran or Tehran? Tehran.
Trump said this is going to end up bad for Iran. And I believe that. Capitalists, that's why we won't have peace. I'm telling you, it's because of your words. October 7th is the only defense. 1,200 people got murdered, bro. Like, you can't just say, like, yo, it's okay. Like, you can't brush it off. If you want peace, you can't brush off what happened to the other side. It's insanity the way you fucking talk. Why didn't Jordan fucking help? Why didn't Egypt help the Palestinians? Why did they shut the doors on them? But nobody wants to talk about that. You guys say Israelis keep killing these people. Be correct when you say the government is making a decision to go ahead and do something, not the people. You don't know what the people are thinking, okay? Egypt and Jordan aren't scared of shit, okay? They just didn't want to let anybody in. Anyway, I'll rip the fucking Band-Aid off at this point because I'm fucking tired of seeing the entire timeline just full of fucking anti-Semitism. It's just fucking ridiculous at this point, man.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get through the news because this is a very heated topic. And I think that David might want to spend a little bit more time on this. And then we're going to touch up with Landy. So let me go ahead and wrap up the news for today. And then we can go ahead and get on this war and your thoughts. JP Morgan files JPMD. JP Morgan files a trademark JPMD for cryptocurrency trading and payment services. Trump says no war unless U.S. is attacked. The Trump administration informed several Middle Eastern allies that it does not plan to actively intervene in the war unless Iran targets American forces. X suspends Pump Fund. X suspended the crypto meme coin platform Pump.Fun. U.S. UK trade deal finalized. The U.S. and UK have officially signed documents finalizing their new trade deal. OpenAI gets $200 million deal. OpenAI has secured a $200 million contract with the U.S. Department of Defense because there's no better way for them to monitor us, right? Trump urges evacuations. Trump has urged everyone to immediately evacuate Tehran. Loud blasts are reported in the city near the Natanz nuclear facility. Coinbase CEO meets UK officials. Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong met with UK policymakers in London to discuss cryptocurrency regulation and policy. Bill aims to block U.S. war role. U.S. Congressman Thomas Massie is set to introduce a war powers resolution aimed at prohibiting U.S. military involvement in the Israel-Iran war. I wonder if they're going to even pass that bill. Anywho, we'll get back into it. Trump says Iran can't get nukes. President Trump said that making America great again also means preventing Iran from ever acquiring a nuclear weapon. Trump demands an SC briefing. Fox News reports that Trump has requested the National Security Council be ready in the Situation Room upon his arrival in Washington, D.C. China tells citizens leave Israel. China has called on its citizens to leave Israel immediately. With that being said, we're going to go to a quick commercial break and we will be right back.
Taking my time to perfect the beat, and I still got love for the streets. Don't represent for the gangsters all across the world. Hitting the corners in the love taking my time to perfect the beat, and I still got love for the streets. I'm representing for the gangsters all across the world. Hitting the corners in the love taking my time to perfect the beat, and I still got love for the streets. I'm representing for the gangsters all across the world.
Welcome back to the nightly recap, sponsored by Hoppy, powered by GNN. I am with David Gokhshtein, Landy, and I am Leslie Mota, recapping the news and talking about the conflict between Israel and Iran. Landy, David, there's a lot of craziness going on. I know Trump has said that we are not going to intervene, but with the actions that have transpired within the last few days, what are your thoughts about U.S. getting in the middle of this war?
I mean, I'll let Landy go and then I'll give my take.
Well, how you doing, David? How you doing, Leslie? So, a little correction from earlier. The WC-135R that's in the air is flying over Iowa, Nebraska, Montana.
Thank you.
And if that's up and has transponders going, that means that we have a lot that doesn't, a lot that it's gone dark, right? So, and we're not putting that up because we fear a nuclear weapon from Iran. So the situation is much bigger than just Iran, right? It's not a joke that those things are flying around. So for people that don't know what that is it's It's equipped with atmospheric analysis equipment that can detect nuclear weapons and fallout. And thus far, for what's happening with Israel and Iran, the administration obviously is going to provide um, sit rep analysis, intel, cyber support, and all that stuff. But they've indicated no direct kinetic conflict. Somebody had mentioned that the U.S. embassy has been hit. Is that considered? Yeah, I mean that's going to be considered something. That the statements from the admin have come out since then, though, saying that essentially, that we're not going to get involved in kinetic warfare, which is strikes, U.S. strikes, troops on the ground kind of stuff. So where it goes from here, I think it's a much bigger. This is much bigger than just Israel and Iran, right? There's China, Russia, and Iran that have clearly, been working together in various ways for many, many years. And you can A to B to C that particular situation. There's a lot of things that are complex in that region where the U.S. has meddled, in my opinion, when we probably shouldn't have in prior administrations. And whatever is happening, we won't know until they tell us, right? So it's a 24-hour rule. If the admin says, hey, we're not getting involved in kinetic warfare, give it 24 hours and see where we are tomorrow at the same time.
But do you think, okay, them saying that we're not getting involved, and then we're seeing that we have military bomber, or what are they, field bombers? We have the USS Nimitz
Mm-hmm.
en route, if not already there, and God knows, and we have troops on the ground. I mean, you don't think that they've been preparing for something already up
They've
to
been
this point?
preparing for a while. I mean, the whole Trump's whole Middle East trip was the military moving, right? Because it's bigger than. Look, we have to position forces, not just from countries like Iran, but you know, China, Russia, and many others, right? So positioning forces is not abnormal at all, especially when we have to watch our own ass, right? We have to be prepared for another shoe to drop somewhere else, right? So it's not necessarily an indication that we're going to get directly involved in the situation in Iran and between Israel and Iran, but it's definitely to protect our interests. And I think that this administration has been very forthright about protecting our interests first before anyone else's.
Now, what do you know about the U.S. Air Force transmitting mysterious encrypted nuclear emergency codes over the weekend?
No, I don't have any comment on it.
Yeah, I've reached out to certain sources too within the military, and that is the same responses that I received. No comment.
Yeah,
No
no one's
comment.
comment.
No comment.
Yeah.
Now, can we elaborate a little bit on this? Because when was the last time that the U.S. Air Force tested?
October of
I'm
last
going to
year.
say tested, and was it to this extent as the ones over this weekend?
Yes, October of last year.
And what happened October of last year?
We don't know. It was right before the election. No idea.
How deep can we go, Landy?
Not much deeper than that.
Okay.
It's just getting into theory territory.
Okay.
Nothing
Should
that
we
I can
get
answer
should we
directly.
get into conspiracy theory territory, or save it for now for
I mean, it's probably not worth it because the situation's going to change very, very quickly. Like, right? It's gonna this situation now that things have kicked off is going to evolve very, very, very rapidly. It's evolving right now as we're speaking. Like there is things that, of course, the media is going to try to report on, but then there's like what reality is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's obviously I heard a little bit about the contention that China that we don't know what China has a little bit earlier. Trust me, we know what China has. We
I
know what
mean,
their
you
military
based
force
on the
capabilities.
specialty and things like that, yeah, I would understand that you understand. But what I'm saying, like a common person that say has no ties, really doesn't understand what's happening in the backgrounds, that probably just chat GPT, news, etc. They probably don't know the extent of it, right? Is that safe to say?
It's also safe to say that China would not want to get in any kind of kinetic warfare with the United States. It's
What about
very safe to
Russia?
say that.
Man, the
It-
media has hyped up China and Russia to make y'all think that like they are indestructible or some shit, bro. Like they
They,
got some shit
yeah.
that like can destroy the United States. They got nothing, bro.
I mean,
What
they have
about when
nuclear
you
weapons,
have
but
internal
All right,
sources
so they
that
have
really
nukes and we
know?
have nukes. That's it.
Mm?
Great, but we have a superior army than they do. Like, I'm
yeah,
sorry, until proven otherwise, our army is way more superior than theirs, and Russia doesn't even have an army.
the only way they win is when everyone loses. And that's by firing off nuclear weapons because
That's it.
everyone loses. That's the only way they win, but they won't be around to experience that win if that were the case.
So, look, does war suck? I'm going to say this again. Yes. Am I for war? No. I absolutely am anti-war. I think war should be reserved for self-defense. That's it. Obviously, I'll give you an example. Pearl Harbor got hit. We reacted correct. That's it. Pearl
Yeah.
Harbor got hit. We reacted correctly.
Well, David, the fear, and this is an understandable fear, right? The fear is that, much in the way that we got pulled into that we get pulled into something else that becomes World War III, right? That is the actual fear that people have, and it's a real fear, right? It's not something that can be easily discounted. And I think many would speculate that that is what this particular move is, with obviously the lack of knowledge, maybe some. Obviously, many want to know, like, okay, if they really had a
Landy,
capability, not just
man,
nuclear weapons, but the capability to strike somewhere, then if not, show us the evidence, kind of thing, right? But it does seem as though many are trying to pull the United States into a kinetic war that would blow up. That would be World War III. If we get involved, I don't think people understand. If the United States gets involved, I don't think this is like going to be a Iraq situation. I think the next time the United States gets involved, especially with Trump as president, it's war. It's like the full might of the U.S. military. He's straight up said it. Like, I will bring down the full might of the U.S. military on you. We're not going to play any pussyfooting around kind of shit.
China's too broke. Russia's completely broke. So
And the United
look,
States of America is completely in debt.
Not
we're
as in
in
debt
debt,
as they are.
but we can go ahead and we can battle with anybody out here. That's not the point. It's not the point. I don't want this shit. Like, I don't want us to be pulled into this shit. I keep on saying this. And you know what? I'm very proud of everybody that has stood on their fucking business and said, "Do not pull us into this fucking war. Do not pull us into it. You want to go ahead and fight Iran? You fight Iran. No problem. Go ahead. Tussle with each other. But do not pull us into this motherfucker. Do not." Because I agree with Landy. The moment that the United States of America enters in, it's all over, man. We're gonna have Russia, obviously, and China will unite with Iran. That's 100%. Pakistan is going to unite with Iran, and we're gonna have to go again. It's crazy that we're gonna have to go. We would have to go against Russia. That would be crazy because we've always been allies through World War One and Two. Imagine not having them for three. Now
You
we're
know
going
what? I
against.
think that say something like this what is happening right now. if there was a law or a regulation where if the president had male sons that they also had to go to war in case of a war and see if maybe the reactions would be different from the United States of America presidents.
They don't care.
Never know, because it's how is it fair that, we send our children over there to fight a war that doesn't even pertain or belong to us, but presidents, politics, and all of them get to sit in the comfort of their home while children and other people are fighting this war. How about sending your children as well if you make those type of decisions and to see if your thought process would be different?
I
They'll
need to
never pass
respond to
something
this
like
guy
that.
real quick.
And number two, at the end of the day, like, yeah, you see, Trump is not getting a fair deal, man. Here, he is definitely not getting a fair shake, because every son of a bitch is doing this on purpose, knowing that Trump does not want to go to war with anybody. He wants to be known as the fucking president that does not go to war, just like his first term, and he wanted this shit for his second term.
But if you
So
don't want to go to war, why are you positioning
he has no
yourself
other
like you
choice.
are?
He
What
has
do you mean
no
you
other
have no other
choice.
choice?
He has no other choice but to flex the United States of America's fucking power as a military right now. He has absolutely no other choice. He
So
can't
what does
sit
he
back.
Okay, so I'm just gonna play devil's advocate, right? And you already know my stance, so people, please do not take this the wrong way. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. So if they really don't want to get involved, the only reason that they're gonna get involved what is for what reason to protect Israel, correct?
Yes,
So what if they didn't and didn't completely get involved? Then what happens next?
they should not get involved.
I don't. Well,
You're
you're
not
talking
answering
about
my
directly
question.
involved in this conflict?
Correct.
Uh,
Yeah. I mean, I think the only way that we get directly involved in this conflict is if there was anything actionable on the nuclear side to clean up. I mean, Israel has plenty of firepower. I will say it's pretty interesting that the Iron Dome got breached, but I find that more interesting than anything else.
Why?
Because the missile defense systems there, it would be very, very difficult to overwhelm. So maybe, and it's something doesn't sit right with me with that. But
So you
um,
think that was intentional or on purpose that it was
no,
breached?
no, I'm not saying that. It's could be operator error, programming error,
So
something
what
goes
doesn't sit
down.
well? Oh, well, isn't it because of the cyber attack? Maybe it was breached?
Um, you know, depends on who you think the cyber attack came from. Um,
You think that cyber attack was internal? Because my understanding of Israel's technology, um, their military, things like that, it's they said that it was one of the best. And for them to have been cyber attacked, I mean, does that make sense?
um, the cyber capabilities of Israel and allies is very robust, and it's a constant war. And I'd argue that we've been at war for a very long time. World War III is has been going on for a long time, but kinetic action has been spotty. This is where, like, we start getting into. I wanted to address this real quick. So somebody DM'd me and said, "Oh, there's only 3 WC-135Rs in the world, and it's routine. They flew June, blah blah blah. Yeah, they flew all in June, and prior to that, this particular aircraft was up in October. The reason why it started in June is because you get intel well before then. You throw the plane up if there's some sort of a test, if you're testing out equipment and you want to calibrate things and you want to make sure that things are ready to go, you put it up in the air. That's why they would have it flying over since the 9th. So it's like I get that, like, maybe people don't understand that it's not like they're searching for an actual detonated weapon. They're likely testing out equipment, and because one was transponding, that tells you everything you need to know. They're up there and they're getting ready and they're staying ready. So for the person that was messaging me that, um, look, I mean, this if we get involved in this conflict, there's a reason why. And I don't think that it's purely because like, oh, we're going to protect Israel. The United States protects its interests. And I know that there is this thought or this narrative out there is like, oh, the United States works for Israel. And it's I would argue that maybe that's a little bit of the other way around.
I agree with that with Landy. I think that Israel works for the United States of America.
Then why the hell are they not listening to the United States of America to
Well,
not
again,
attack
I'm disappointed.
Iran?
Well, I don't know what's been said behind the scenes, but I can say that I'm disappointed. If we were a day or two away from sitting down with Iran and talking about, a resolution here, and this shit goes off, this didn't. It really didn't sit well with me. So
Well, BB has been trying to yank us into other conflicts. I don't think that there hasn't been conversations between the United States and BB that have talked about these different scenarios. And sometimes when your boy goes a little crazy, you got to back him just because of the nature of the relationship. And in this case, I don't think that the United States wants to get involved. I don't think the Trump admin wants to be involved in any of it. Hence, Trump trying to
you
calm
know
things
how
down.
Trump feels. Trump doesn't want a war under him.
Hmm.
He gloats about not having wars under him. He doesn't want this shit. Leslie, you can roll your head, but like you can just look at his first term. He does not want wars under him. He wants to gloat about it. His ego is bigger than this goddamn fucking station. He wants to go ahead and say, I was the president that never had a war. I was the president who fixed the economy. He doesn't give a shit about this. I am the president who brought peace, the Abraham Accords, all that stuff. That's what he wants to be known for. He doesn't want to be known for the guy who took the US Army and put it in harm's way. He doesn't want to be known as that. I understand. You see the military over there, it's set up, it has to be there. It has to be there right now. There is no other choice. The American military has to be there. I'm telling you, it has to be.
To those who are like
Listen,
saying,
they station 8,000 people in Qatar, man. We're acting like this is something like, oh my God, they just arrived there.
yeah, no, this is the other thing is Trump has been very, very clear that although he wants peace, that if he feels necessary, he will crush the opposition. He's been very, very clear about that since his first term.
Exactly. So it's like he says one thing,
No, 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 no,
but
no,
at the same token,
no,
he's
no.
gonna crush.
I know where
So
you're
yeah,
trying to
he
go
has
with
a
it.
big ego, but at the
No,
same
it's
token,
not
okay,
about
that ego and
ego.
crushing the opposition,
And
then he's probably gonna show like, "Oh, this is what we can do. This is what
Leslie,
the
Leslie,
US, our military is able and capable to do." That way you fuck around, find out type of.
look,
No, he's saying, hey, listen, if you go ahead and do something, I will punch you in your face. That's what he's
And
saying.
he's
You
gonna
step
do
on,
it.
no. Basically, he's saying if you step on my property, get ready to get shot. That's what he's saying.
I
So don't
mean,
step on the property.
Butters, the Israeli missile defense systems is very robust, and it is a lot of American technology and a lot of American weaponry in the Iron Dome, including American contractors. Right, so understand that when I'm saying that I find it interesting that the dome was breached, it's not because I have some sort of lack of knowledge of capabilities. We have a very good understanding, and you can look this stuff up of some of the capabilities, but you're not going to always know all of the capabilities. So my surprise as to seeing some breaches of that, it's very difficult to overwhelm, and there's a lot of different factors that have to be taken into account, but it's more than just the dome if you want to go down that road, but I don't want to go down that road any further. Fact of the matter is, Trump is very much, and Leslie, you know this, Trump is very much a peace first guy. And if you don't accept, and it's very, very clear in his actions, even under the first term, is if you don't take peace, then and you are a threat to the United States or perceived threat to the United States, We'll try to work with you up to a point, but as soon as there is no more work to be done, then you're going to get flattened. Like that's just like he's a no bullshit guy. I know a lot of people think that it's all bullshit, but just go look at his actions. It's no bullshit. I mean, I know people want to joke around and throw politics into it, but when you got a guy like him, he talks a big game, um, but he does back it up, and that was proven out through his first term. And now in his second term, there's considerations that they are taking into account, obviously, that regular people aren't going to know about and probably never find out about. But there's a lot of speculation about it. And all you can do is go by his actions. And if the admin is coming out saying like, hey, there is now we do not want to get involved in this conflict. That obviously doesn't mean that they're not providing support, right? I mean, that's very evident, right? Intel support, fuel support, cyber support, all of the rest of the support that you can possibly think of, we are absolutely providing, right? It is an ally. So, I mean, if we now find ourselves in some sort of kinetic conflict where the United States is now striking, then okay. Then I can say, all right, I 100% am on board with you. It's a valid criticism of him. But at this point, the only other criticisms that I can throw are I would have wanted to see an end to the Ukraine and Russia conflict by now and bring Bibi to heel a little bit here. And in those two regards, those are valid criticisms that we have not seen come to fruition. And now Bibi's just going out there and taking out what he claims is a perceived threat from Iran. And I know that the admin actually supports him in this. He's expressed it, even though Trump said he didn't want it to happen. So you got to make of that what you will, I guess.
Well, I have nothing more to add because, we just got to see day by day what happens here, honestly. Now, at the end of the day, like, hopefully peace prevails and people sit down at the table and we can go ahead and negotiate some sort of fucking peace treaty here and be on our way. But at the end of the day, I'll stand on this. Iran cannot have a fucking nuclear fucking weapon. That's it, bottom line. And I know people will hit me with North Korea and all this. One country that I don't want to see have a nuclear weapon is Iran. That's it.
We just want
And I
more
wish
peace.
that we can get rid of all nuclear weapons, bottom line, like, because it just doesn't end well in general when you have these things around. But at the end of the day, the last fucking country that should have one is them. And I know people will be like, what about Israel? And that's what I've been seeing on the timeline. So it's like, okay, you guys want to stand on something, but when, Iran decides, God forbid they were to get a nuclear weapon and decides to fucking launch it, saying like, fuck the world, we're going to take everybody with us, then, then everybody's eyes will open up. But okay, that's all. That's all I got to say about that. But really, honestly, I just want to come on here for, I love talking politics, but this obviously war, there's no middle ground. There's no, like, you can't, it's so hard to stay in the middle because you obviously see, you know who Iran is, man. That's it. Bottom line.
So,
Last country I
okay,
want to fucking have a nuke.
we want world peace. And on a different note, I did want to touch really quick on pump.fun and the X accounts being suspended. What do you guys think about that? And then I was reading through the timeline where there are possibly more crypto accounts that are going to be suspended based on algorithm. What do you guys think of that?
I don't think that's true. I think that had everything to do with API and not crypto tweeting. Excuse me. I don't. It's everything with API. They weren't paying the 100 grand or 50, 100 grand to Elon, and Elon just terminated the accounts until
So
further
that
notice. I think
100
that's
was
it.
it supposed to be a monthly thing or a yearly thing?
It's a monthly thing.
Dang. So they want to.
Yeah,
So
but
Elon
like
wanted like $1 million
they're
a
making
year.
millions of dollars a month, right? They're
Yeah.
making millions of dollars a month, and they're using, you know, X's, entire platform, and they're using APIs for free. So, or they're getting around the API, whatever. I read something about that they weren't paying, and there were others that weren't paying, so they shut them down. So I'm sure they'll figure out a way to go ahead and repay X, and then they'll get their accounts back.
It wasn't just Pump Fund. I mean, that's one of the bigger ones, but they got everybody. They're a ton of different accounts. Sun Pump, Elon. There's a list somewhere, and it keeps growing. So I don't know. It's an interesting one.
So like,
I
so
don't
what
think
do
they're
they
gonna
mean
go
by
after
using their
crypto. I mean, that's
API?
stupid.
What?
I don't think they're gonna go after crypto. I mean, crypto is a growing ecosystem that makes no sense for them to go after crypto.
Okay, so I'm trying to understand.
I think they just went after companies that were avoiding paying for API services. That's all.
That's what it seems like so far. Yeah.
Okay, so API, I'm trying to look it up to see what that means for me and the people that don't understand why they have to pay. So when they access API, it allows the user to data, fetch, post, search users, reply, tweet, advanced querying, metrics, and analytics. But like I thought Pump was just a company on the account. So what you're telling me that it was accessing all of this information?
100%. Elon put a cut to that because that's how Twitter was losing money because of that. They weren't. I mean, nobody was paying for API pulls. That's why a lot of companies went out of business. Super Spaces, you know, you could start naming, a ton of companies that were really good here that went out of business because they couldn't afford the $100,000 or 50,000 or $75,000 to go ahead and pay for that API. That's expensive. They weren't getting
So
that
a lot
ROI
of
back.
so then a lot of these DeFi companies that are here, what's it called, InfoFi or whatnot? That it's like you sign up, you see your metrics compared to other people's metrics, like the yapping, etc. Then they're going to be subjected to this as well
If
because they're
they're not,
scraping the
if
API.
they're
Correct?
paying, then they're fine.
Okay, now I get it. Now I understand.
And on that note, um, yeah, war is always it gets me all fired up. So that's why I honestly like there's no news to report on today. Crypto goes up, crypto goes down. It's choppy. Where I think crypto, for some reason, crypto is waiting for the war to come to an end here, a resolution to be reached, so they can go on their way and send all these things to Valhalla. That's how I'm kind of looking at it. But shout out to Bitcoin, it's holding strong. Crypto is actually holding strong in general, but big shout out to Bitcoin, it's holding. So good for Bitcoin.
Well, any last parting words, gentlemen? On that note, we have gone over an hour. Typically, when David and I are alone, I finish a little bit after David. David's the one that always finishes faster than anybody else on the network, but that's just
Wow.
him. When he's solo, he tends to finish really fast, and because he really has nothing to say. Landy, any last words?
You can check the chat for my last words on that note. Yeah, no, I mean, crypto markets, lower term time frame volatility. There's a lot of other factors too outside of the geopolitical stuff that's going on. We have on Wednesday the FOMC meeting, so there's some positioning obviously happening, and we'll see kind of where things go from here. I put a
Yeah.
video out about it, in fact.
That is amazing. Thank you, Landy. And if anybody noticed David's a high pitched voice today, is because he did get his balls waxed.
I got my balls waxed and my ass waxed as well. And I appreciate everybody for tuning in to the GNN Network, the nightly recap, Monday through Fridays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We started late because Leslie had to get her hair done. Landy, shout out to Landy. Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, you can go ahead and catch his TA at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I retweeted it in case you can't find Landy. I retweeted it on my page, so tune into that. Send crypto to Valhalla. That's what I'm about. And I hope all you motherfuckers have a great night and an even better tomorrow, as Akil would say.
Taking my time, looking ready to see, and I still got love for the streets. Don't represent for the gangsters all across the world.